and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm the Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. Do you know where we can find that?
Yes.
It's in Wrestling Ham.
That's right.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/AwesomeCast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the Awesome Cast. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we're going to have a fun one. We have a special guest. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first, back with us from the pod cave of the iPhoneography podcast, it is Dave Potter. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good. Just enjoying the summer that we're having here in Pittsburgh.
Indeed.
Before melting later this week.
Yeah, there is that. And of course, that's when I have an outside show in the middle of Ohio. So also, back with us, fresh with a, desert tan from Phoenix, Arizona, out there for work is Katie Dudas. The Dudders.
I didn't leave.
What's
I didn't
that?
go outdoors.
Well, you didn't go outdoors. Like, yeah, you're just like.
It was 106. Poof, catch fire.
There you go. I mean, but you got to. Yeah, it was kind of all. It was February last time I went through Phoenix, huh? So, but I guess Tucson was May, but still, yeah. So how was your week last week?
Good. It was very nice. I got to see nice cacti because they have a nice little garden of cacti out there.
Oh,
because they want to be like, look at our fancy ones.
The fauna, if you will.
It's a botanical garden of cacti, which is super weird to say.
One of these times you're going to go out there and that Mattel theme park is finally going to be open that we keep hearing about, and you'll be able to go on the He-Man and the Hot Wheels rides, right? So,
dream come true.
There you go. That's going to have to happen. Well, we know that we end up in Tucson about every other year at this point too, so that's not too far away. And we have a very special guest with us this week that I'm really excited to chat with here. It is Wally Haas, the founder of Avalon Holographics, joining us right now from San Francisco, and as we discussed, is a Canadian Bills fan, I understand. So with a very interesting story that you guys can hear if you're on the Patreon feed. So the right button there. There you go, Wally. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Michael. Nice to be invited onto this awesome cast. Really appreciate you giving us some time to talk about holographic displays. Something near and dear to my heart, almost as much as my beloved Buffalo Bills.
Yes, I had a great conversation about that. But anyways, let's get into it. Like, so this is I get a lot of messages about cool stuff, and this really like the holograms, the futurism. Like, I feel like we've been chasing this for decades at this point, especially from the beginning of this show as well. So tell me about what you guys are doing there with holograms.
Yeah, sure. So what we are doing is awesome stuff. That's what we're doing. It's we make real holographic displays, by far the best in the world. The holographic display that we have is basically a 3 foot by 3 foot table. Hologram pops up about 1.5 feet. It's real. You could see it today if you wanted to, but we've got a number of fixed locations. We can't really show you how this physically looks to a human on a 2D screen. It's really too bad. But it is a real hologram. The hologram pops up. You can put your hand through it. We've been at this for 10 years. We're a Canadian company, almost 100 people, but we've made this just awesome technology. It is this holographic table. The closest thing to kind of in movies might be the Star Wars chess table.
Mm-hmm.
It's really meant for super high value applications like medical and defense right now. But the future is super bright. We're fundraising now to make the table basically 100 times better. The cost can come down a lot. The fidelity of the holographic display can go up a lot. So it's just a super exciting time. These things can be big. They can be collaborative. They're just awesome all around.
Mm-hmm. So you have, I presume this is kind of like a base model that you're kind of starting with, right? This 3 by 3 foot thing. Can you tell me about like how when I see 3D objects, like to me, like seeing the lensless 3D. What comes to my mind, I guess, and I don't know if there's a relatable example, is like the Nintendo 3DS was a thing, right? And I don't even know much about how that technology even worked. It gave me a headache when I tried it, so I didn't grab one. Kind of thing. So how if you for those that are on audio for this as well. So what you're seeing is there's at least even on the obviously we had some CG versions here, but on the practical video that we were showing here that you guys sent me, you can see that the objects are coming up over the table in your perception, right? Like there's some buildings, and you saw it overlapping with what would have been the far edge of the table. So I mean, to me, that represents relatively what that 3D would probably look like in person, right? So how are you accomplishing that kind of like pop-up feature of that?
Yeah, sure. So again, like we have to take some creative license when it comes to creating 2D displays, sort of 2D images of our display. But we make these videos to be as truthful as we can to the actual experience. And so if you were to see one of these tables for real, it would pop up just like it does in the way that we have these videos. So the way that it works, the way that you see anything in real life, is light rays have to come from a light source like the sun or a lamp. They bounce off all the objects, they collect to a single point on an object, and then that light ray comes into your eye. So the video that you've got right now, that's an actual live capture of our holographic display, just as the camera is spinning around. So no matter where you are, you get to see a different perspective. So that's the real display. That's our first one. We've got a number that get a little bit better than that. But we produce billions and billions of light rays. And by producing these light rays in the exact same way that humans perceive light rays, by real objects, light bouncing off real objects, and the light rays going into your two eyes, that you will be able to perceive these objects as if they're real. So it's true light field holography. You are perceiving the objects as if they are real by reproducing the billions and billions of rays of light and then controlling them all.
Okay. So like, obviously, like this feels like something that was a more recent kind of breakthrough to be able to do something of this sort. What has kind of changed with technology to make this? And I know this is, I don't know the price tag for this, but I imagine it's a bit, considering the applications that we're talking about on the website, and we'll get into that. What was the big kind of technological breakthrough to get us to this point, do you think?
Yeah, honestly, there's been a number up to this point. We've got more than 120 patents and pending. But to sort of the real unlock for this particular display was the compression that goes into the data stream. So we have the equivalent of effectively almost 3,000 HDTVs, each of which are 2 million pixels. So that gets us to the 5 billion. And each of those displays need to be run concurrently with ray directions and ray tracing. And if you add up all of the data, 24 bits of color, 30 frames a second, that gets to about 5 terabits per second, which is roughly 1/3 of the average internet traffic in Canada, and about 3%, 3 to 5% of the internet traffic, average internet traffic in the U.S., including all of the U.S.'s data centers. So, like, that is just an abhorrent amount of data, and therefore you have to run a compression scheme that allows a normal computer running a normal program to be able to render to a holographic display. So a ton of different technology went into this, from optics, photonics, semiconductor, mechanical, but also algorithmic compression is a real big unlock for us, which allowed for the holographic display to become a reality.
So kind of like how compression with like the internet kind of broke through it, right? When I don't know if there's a one-to-one, like MP3s made audio explode on the internet back in the day when there wasn't as much bandwidth, right? Like, it's something similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really great analogy. To be able to use information theory, compression theory, to be able to send the important visual information across our normal connection and then have custom chips decompress that such that it produces a real hologram. It's fantastic. And just in the same way that, if you sent unstreamed audio files across the internet, it would probably consume it all. Like the compression is the important bit for this particular stage. But like the holographic display that we have is by far the best in the world, absolutely awesome. But it's really just sort of it's not a prototype. It is a product. But you alluded to the cost point earlier. It's literally millions of dollars. So we can only go after markets that have a super high visualization need, which means that the consequence of a bad decision is life-threatening. And even though this video is asteroids, which you could play,
yeah, I know, great timing. Sorry about that.
It's all right, but you showed a defense one earlier. But in medical and defense scenarios, there's life-altering, affecting decisions that have to be made, and you need spatial awareness of what's there. And so that's why this first table does make sense for sort of narrow markets. But the cost of this display, really, it's all about the reason it's so costly is because of the projectors that are inside there, the imagers, the optics, the control that has to go into it. There's no reason that over time a holographic display can't be $1,000 or less. The amount of photonic energy necessary to make a hologram is the same as the photonic energy necessary to make the 2D display that you're watching me on now. It's just that the little pixels are making domes of light versus like straight rays of light, but you just need billions and billions of rays of light in a very tight area in order to make a real hologram. And so, like, holographic displays are truly just going to be everywhere. In 5-10 years, it's just going to be awesome. Every screen you use will eventually be holographic.
Okay, so eventually we'll get into Blade Runner territory here, right? Well, at least that part of it, visually. And that's why I'm always like talking about these, because I know this is like this will get pared down, just like everything is like in the phone now. Like this can be that display in maybe 10 years. I don't know. Hopefully, being optimistic. So tell me a little bit more about the applications. You mentioned medical. You mentioned defense. You were giving us a really interesting example about what we were doing with our hometown. For instance, before the show, we can leave for Patreon. But generally, like, what are and you're talking about, again, these are ones that can spend $1 million on a table like this for an application. What problems is this technology solving for those verticals, like that?
Yeah, sure. So the two biggest ones are medical and defense. So I'll start with medical first. So, like, the body is filled with dense, squishy tissue that moves that you can't see, thankfully, because we're covered in skin.
Hmm.
And so, when surgeons need to do something to your body, what they want to do is they want to see the digital twin of the body. And so, when you take an MRI or a CT scan, it is creating a digital twin that is then interpreted either on a 2D slice when you see all those medical shows and you see them, put up the little picture. But the standard of care generally now is a 3D model. But printing a 3D model might take a day, 2 days, might even take longer if it's a complex model. But you don't care about the medium in which you see the tissue. You just want to see the tissue. So when we've shown this to surgeons, you've got a live video here, but like the captured video, but being able to see the volume, like this is a mitral valve capture. And so being able to understand the digital twin of the body is incredibly important, first of all, for surgery planning. If you could see the tissues that were broken or mangled or a cancer that you need to go in, you need to be able to understand spatially where's that cancer, where's the nerve, where's the blood vessels, where are the things that I gotta not only miss, but the things I need to hit. And so like open surgery, for example, has been like 20 years of more than 20 years have been basically big holes in the body. And I was just told by a liver surgeon a little while ago that it takes 2 hours to move stuff out of the way and only 5 minutes to actually do the surgery. And so there's a type of surgery called laparoscopic surgery, which basically makes tiny little holes. And then they go in the tiny little holes, but then they have to pump you full of CO2 to make a cavity, and then they do surgery that way. But it actually showed that it was so much faster, so much better for the patient, because the surgery was so much quicker because you're not making these big holes, and the patient doesn't need to recover from that. And so now robots are doing these laparoscopic type surgeries, and they're going even farther and deeper into the body because they're much more precise, much more capable. But you need to be able to see what you're doing. A holographic display gives you that ability that has never been shown before. So it's good for surgery planning. It's good for patient consent, right? Like when you have a complex surgery and you want to know what's being done to your body by some other person that you're putting the trust of your life into. So if you can see this is the cancer, this is the surgery that I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, this is why it's going to be safe for you, then you're going to understand that, and you'll understand the pathology of your body to be able to understand, oh, that's why lifting my arm in this way hurts. That's why this thing is affecting me. So there's so, and for student education, there's multiple uses in medical. And then on the defense side, right, it's very similar. Instead of a digital twin of the body, you want a digital twin of the battle space. Right, like I think Ukraine and other hot areas of the world have shown that like we need to be able to defend ourselves. We need to be able to keep the good guys safe, and spatial awareness is really important. And so we've got a digital twin of the battle space that allows you to have geo-referenced data that show like you've got Niagara Falls here. But you will be able to have spatial awareness of how big is that hill? What is the gradient? Can I drive my vehicle over it? Can I see what's on the other side? Can the enemy see me? And then you get all the benefits of digital overlay, like how far away is it? Can I like you've got a compass and rulers on the edge of the display there, which is just a digital overlay. You can see the unseen. You can do things like RF. You can do things like sight lines. So all of the benefits of this true 3D environment being in the digital domain that allows you to do all of this overlay gives you the ability to spatially be aware of the threats that you may be facing, and give you that extra couple of seconds that might mean the difference, not only in your life, but the life of the people around you and the asset you're on. That may be important in defending the nation. So like there's a lot of reasons to get that extra cognitive ability, share that common operating picture between a bunch of people to make sure that the good guys win. So like again, this first table is really meant for these extra high value, really important, high consequence decisions. But it's just the start of these much larger displays that can be on the floor, that can be on the wall. Like eventually Star Trek holodeck style, sort of immersive experience. Now, it's a hologram, it's light. You're not going to touch anything. You're not going to feel like feedback. But integrating other technologies like haptic, maybe the Star Trek holodeck is in our future. Sounds fun.
I mean, you got a couple centuries to get to it, so it was a good start.
We're gonna beat that timeline a lot.
Excellent. Good to hear. We'll be hanging with Shakespeare before we know it. And I think it's interesting because you're solving this problem of presenting this information. Visual information, but the problem, the solution of capturing that feels like something that's been relatively solved for a bit now. Like I know we obviously work with the Auto Drive Challenge up in Michigan and see what LiDARs are doing with the cars. We did a video back in the day for a client that was capturing topography for surveying locations with a flyover drone and things like that. So I presume that's the kind of thing, like those things are equipped with LiDARs and other technology that's going to capture things like what we're seeing on these displays, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think there's a lot of tailwinds around the sort of capture and awareness and the need for all of this 3D digital information, as you mentioned, like all of these LiDAR captures, drone captures, but just the natural 3D environment. People want to perceive stuff in 3D. We've just been forced to look at it on 2D screens for so long. Like even from a gaming perspective, right? You basically get this weird first-person view. You got this perspective as you're running through stuff. Maybe sometimes you get a top-down League of Legends kind of stuff. But all of that, humans want to perceive things in 3D. More than 90% of our visual receptors are tied to our eyes, and so we are a visual animal, and we want to be able to perceive things in 3D. Thankfully, light field holography gives us that ability. This is a video showing, it's on our website if your viewers want to see it, but it explains light field holography and how you do it. And so all you basically have to do is produce individual vectors of light, rays of light that have direction, color, and intensity, and you just need an ungodly amount of them in order to make a good hologram. So when we think of a TV, like an HD TV, which is pretty good for almost everybody, is 2 million pixels. The holographic display we have is 5 billion pixels, so 3 orders of magnitude more dense, and that's just the start, right? So like TVs just do not have the ability to make good holograms right now. So we're gonna be the first to make good ones.
So if we have 4K and 8K televisions now, how many K is this? Hypothetically,
about 128, somewhere between 128 and 200K.
Excellent. That's good. So I think that's a good context point for the general person out there. So awesome. I want to ask you one more question and give room for co-hosts to ask anything too. But you mentioned how holograms were kind of a passion of yours. Can you tell me a little bit of that background of why you've kind of latched onto this technology?
Yeah, sure. It's a bit of an interesting story. At least I think so. So I think I may have mentioned I'm a semiconductor engineer. That's all I've ever done. I started my career in '96. But I moved out to Newfoundland, which is in Eastern Canada, for family reasons. And I started a company called, I'm not that inventive with names, it was called Avalon Microelectronics. But I did pretty well with it. I sold it to Intel back in 2010. I was a senior director there, but it's a big company. I was kind of agitated around. I'm like, man, I got to do something new. And Iron Man 2 had come out, and there's Tony Stark in the middle of his lab, and he's scanning his father's expo, and he's manipulating the data digitally. And I'm like, man, that looks awesome. I want to see if I can do that, because at that time I was rebuilding a Jeep with my daughter, and we were looking at rebuilding a Subaru WRX with my son, and there's so many complex parts that goes into these cars. You don't know what the heck anything is supposed to work, and if you could just sort of see it, then maybe you'd understand it. And so I picked up a book by a couple of MIT Media Lab professors, and they basically said, look, holography isn't that hard. You just need to make billions and billions of rays of light, but importantly, control them all. And then I thought, well, hold on, that's what my whole job used to be. We made chips for optical telecom. We were the last electronic stage before light went out onto the fiber. And 20 years ago, I was making chips for terabit switches. So I was like, okay, this might be the unique perspective that maybe no one has tried before. And so I had a bit of money from my first acquisition. We formed a core research team in 2015. And a bit surprisingly to all, we had a design that we thought could work by the end. So we're like, okay, let's give it a rip. And so for the last 10 years, we've been making world's best holographic displays. And it's just the start.
I love the idea that I feel like everything that we end up building is from sci-fi, right? Like I feel we've been trying to mimic the tricorders since the what the 70s with Star Trek and everything, right? And I love that Iron Man is like that next kind of hit was like, oh wait, maybe we can actually do this kind of idea, right? So. Katie, Dave, have you been keeping up with the tech on here? What do you think? What are you going to do with a holographic table in 10 years? Are they on here?
I was checking out the where you were talking about like in different parts of the website where you're talking about the entertainment and how these will be integrated into theme parks, which made me go to haunted houses. Like, how do these these additional experiences, because eventually when things are so much easier to use, there's so much that goes into these practical effects. It's like that you could be creating easily in smaller spaces with something along these lines. I think that's real exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I start to imagine the concept of, having imagine it was a place like Disney and Darth Vader comes out of a holographic wall and throws his lightsaber at you, right? Like you'd question reality at that point. So it would just be awesome. There's so many sort of entertainment things I've imagined in the past because of the way the optics work. You can get really, really high depth. And so imagine yourself standing in a batter's box and having a pitcher 90 feet away. I think it's 90 feet. I'm not even totally sure. But having a ball come at you holographically that you would perceive as totally real. Like these are the kinds of things that I just imagine and I just love for the holographic future. There's so much real scenarios, fun scenarios, fantastic scenarios that are possible.
A far cry from the Pepper's Ghost effects they currently use, right? So and really entertainment wise, if anyone's going to use it first, it's going to be Disney, right? So, to create something like that. So that's great. Awesome. What about you, Dave? What do you think of this?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of connecting up a design engineer with a manufacturing engineer. Because I know one of the big problems when you say you have a design engineer and they think, oh, this part or this thing needs to be here for this particular, aircraft or, ground vehicle. But you design your part and that's all you do. And maybe the connecting to the next part just next to it, but knowing how it fits into the entire machine and knowing that, well, what if that needs to be repaired? How can you dig? I went to school with someone who he went back for his doctorate degree in aerospace mechanical engineering. And he was the main thing he was working on in industry was working on landing gear for aircraft. Well, things break. So the thing is, you deal with a pin, literally just a piece of metal pin as part of a landing gear. If it breaks, how do you replace it? So having that 3D model of here's it exploded as in individual parts, not blown up.
Yes.
But you can see, where individual parts and how it comes together and saying, well, this is something, if you want to talk about warfare, this is something that we really need to load into it and reload. And where's the path that goes in? And does this path cause any issues for, it's like, oh, that'd be great if, this ammunition went from here to here and then going out the gun, but not knowing that, well, to go from here to here, you're also hitting all these different wires where right now you have to build, either CAD models with that's 3D on a screen, which is, again, visualization's never great that way, or using the 3D goggles, but having something you can see out and go, okay, now we're going to see, oh, we're having issues this way. So
Mm-hmm.
let's, before we get too far along in the design process, let's rethink how we're building this and work another way.
Yeah, I had the same kind of thought. Like I think about all those kids at like Formula SAE that we work around that are like using SolidWorks and things to develop these things before
Mhm.
they make them and manufacture them. And it's like, what if they just like, boom, here's the car, here's this piece, this is fit, what does this do? And obviously
Exactly.
they're also doing simulation and things like that. And I guess that's a question. Like, is that something where those simulations could also be kind of mapped into this technology? I mean, it's just kind of a relatively a display for whatever you put through, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I
Mm.
think what like it keeps coming back to the overall concept of the digital twin, right? You've
Mm-hmm.
got all of these CAD
Mhm.
models. You want to try to make something real. You have to collaborate with others in order to make something generally of consequence. So having a holographic table and everybody standing around it, and you can have the exact same model for other people who have
Mm-hmm.
different screens, and everybody can collaborate in a way that's not perspective dependent, but actual like looks like the real component.
Mhm.
And then we think about, well, okay, like everybody's really interested in AI, but what is AI really doing? It's trolling through a bunch of data to give us good answers. So imagine asking like on a Boeing aircraft or massively complex, okay, show me the cowling, show me the corrosion on it, show me
Mhm.
where the corrosion might be, why is it going to happen there, show me the parts that are close to being out of spec because of where. Right, like you can simulate all of these elements through the digital domain, through thousands of landings or through different environments, and be able to understand visually what is happening, because humans are still better pattern recognition devices than AI. But let's get AI to give us the sort of 80-90% answer, and then we'll take it from there, right? So like all of these digital AI driven insights, they're all going to lead to more complex and interesting visualization problems that we want to look at.
Excellent, man. Thank you. So this has been a great conversation, and we're all looking to the future here. Wally, founder of the Avalon Holographics. Please go check it out, and the website if you want to start there. And they're on a bunch of social media as well. AvalonHolographics.com. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the time, and looking forward to showing you and the world as the holographic future.
And good luck to your Bills this season.
Thank you. Moderate good luck to your Pittsburgh guys.
I think we're
I,
working
I
through.
can't.
We're working through
I
some
can't. I
stuff.
can't support them. I can't support them.
At least it's not the Pirates. Anyways, thank you so much. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to toss to the video game minute from Chachi, and we'll be back in a moment to check in with our Patreon peeps and our awesome things of the week. We'll be right back after this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chachi Says Video Game Minute. Here's as much video game news that I can cover in about a minute. In an attempt to convince themselves that they are the good guys, Ubisoft has somehow announced that microtransactions makes the games more fun, stating that allowing customers to spend even more money on the video games that they bought to customize their characters or even beat the game faster is more enjoyable than just playing the game. Idiots. And in a completely unplanned other side of the coin, Netflix, after years of waiting, has finally greenlit an Assassin's Creed series. A partnership was announced in 2020, but no movement had been made since. There are zero details at this point, but the excitement is still there for some. And finally, the live action Legend of Zelda film is coming together. Link and Zelda have been cast. Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will play Link, and Bo Bragison will portray Zelda. Ainsworth is known for voicing Pinocchio in 2022, and Bragison appeared in Disney Plus's Renegade Nell. So, movement on that front as well. Pretty good week. Thanks for watching this week's Chachi Says Video Game Minute. We'll see you next time.
We are back. We're going to do our awesome things of the week, but first I want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/awesomecast. Again, these guys, if you got the Patreon stream, and we talked a little bit about the Canada and Canadian football and how our guest got into being a Bills fan through a very interesting way. What was it? Doug Flutie? Was that Doug
Flutie? Yeah, it was Flutie.
I always kayfabe like I don't know who any of these people are whenever this happens. So my lack of sports.
I can trust you. It was interesting what Doug Flutie did.
Yes, absolutely. It is good. It's a good
years
story
ago.
there.
Years ago.
That's on the Patreon only feed, not the post that
Yes.
we put up later from the after show. So you gotta go into the big stream at the beginning there before we start the show if you want to check that out. But people that do have access to that, thank you to our Patreon supporters: Brian Crawford, Cynthia Klosky, John DeGore, and Dave Bodner, who was there for it. So you've already seen it. Was that a couple cable
AwesomeCast is good.
Oh boy. Anyways, it is now time for our. Thank you, Kid Metal, for those awesome sounders. Let me go first because I want to get John in here on this. Intern John's out there in the Zoom world there, and we got to check out. Thank you, Antoine, who I think was in the chat room at least earlier.
Antoine's still there.
We got to do a panel there, which I think I lived out my con panel fantasies during the course of that. But we also got some press passes for Techo 2025 here in Pittsburgh. And if you want to check over on the Wrestling Mayhem show, we learned about the ribbons, and he made these awesome Wrestling Mayhem show and IndieWrestling.us ribbons that he passed out at the panel that were very, very cool. I just realized they're in my pocket still from the other day. Anyways, but yeah, no. So we learned about ribbon culture, which you can find out over there. But this is the big anime con. It's a locally kind of put on, the local Japanese society, Pittsburgh, that does this, and the other smaller 18+ con that we did several months ago with the wrestling stuff. So it was really cool. So thank you, Antoine, for inviting us out once again and giving me a reason to come out and experience this in the middle of July. And now I think I'm kind of hooked on it, and I gotta go back next year. And intern John, you helped me out on the second day. Riz was there with me the first day during the panel, but I got to let you loose and go talk to cosplayers for a bit, and I'll throw the video up here as well for you guys. So I guess first thing, what did you learn from Techo is what I kind of want to ask you.
What did I learn from Techo? I honestly have not been to many cons. I think prior to Techo, I'd only been to one, and it was in like 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of my major takeaways was I don't want to say homogenization because that's not true. It's just there was a lot of different demographics of fandom that were happening because Techo is an anime con. But I was seeing people who were just like super into alternative fashion. I was seeing a bunch of furries were there. A lot of Star Wars cosplay, like plenty of things that are by no stretch of the imagination anime, but it's kind of just like okay, it's a convention. There's a certain realm of weird things that, or like alternative subcultures that are going to be present here. Which I thought was pretty cool.
For instance,
like in the most positive way possible.
For instance, like I thought this was an awesome geeky thing, and we're going to put out video individually. This is all part of our big video that we put out here in the last couple of days. But this was like a robot, and you got to talk to this person. This is a trash can robot kind of situation, and he learned how to make it emote and everything along with this thing. I love the. I realized after looking at the video, editing it, that he has the Johnny Five stuff from Short Circuit 2, where it says the Los Locos were here and everything graffiti. So like the nice little details on there. What was this guy's name? Kenny DeVito is the robot's name.
I know. I was like, you're leaving out the most important part.
And it's a Costco badge too. So yeah, he was just rolling around with this thing. It was awesome, and it talks to you too.
Yeah, it does. It does say Danny DeVito's line about being the trash man from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I was really, really stoked about.
Awesome. And of course you got to get, we had you talk to a lot of people about what they by the way, Katie, I didn't have my new microphones yet, so though we're using the microphones you suggested that are still the lightning ones for my old phone for this. This
Ooh.
is all iPhone Pro 13 stuff here, so for anything that's the cosplay for the most part. So and it all holds up. The Pro Max 13 still holds up. So but yeah. But no, it was really cool, and again, just a lot of really good times with that, and I'm a big fan of Techo, and I'm realizing how much this is a big photo opportunity for all the cosplayers. You're at the David Lawrence Convention Center, you have that overhang, you have the bridges in the background and everything, and obviously there's usually like these like kind of sets for you to kind of go and take pictures at for your cosplay. But there were so many. I know Ashley that does some video work with us, video and photo work with us with the wrestling and SAE and everything. I know she was there doing pro photos for the weekend as well. So that's a huge opportunity. You go to some of these Instagrams that we have tagged on the Instagram version of the video. I think we have it tagged on a few of them. You can see how pro they look, for these kinds of things. And they put a lot of work on it. I mean, I think you had an interview with a girl that was had this foam arm that she was working with. Another one, we showed a little bit of the smoke effect that somebody was doing from their hand and how they had to adapt it so they didn't get caught for like having smoking vaping products and stuff like that. So it was very cool. And it's just like a giant, just like go see what everybody's creativity, because this is all for the most part made, even the Deadpool costume, right?
Yeah, the guy, I think he didn't actually, he didn't stitch it together, but he made all of the separate pieces of armor and then had like a plain white leather suit that he then painted over, and kind of same thing with the mask. The gambit was super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The jacket made from scratch, the chest plate made from scratch, all of it was completely handmade. I saw a couple of people that made their own shoes, which I was really impressed by. The girl with the robot arm, it's made of foam, but there were so many. Yeah, her. It looks extremely realistic. You can see it. I can only see it in like the little zoom square right now, but if you look up the video, her whole hand moves like super independently. It looks extremely naturalistic. And she mentioned something about like formulas, like she was doing like mathematics to get this stuff to work. I saw people that made their own like hyper realistic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
There's one. There was a scythe guy.
There's a Trevor Belmont with his has the chain whip going on. There's a scythe there too.
Oh, there's the scythe guy.
Yes.
Somebody made that for him on Etsy. The person on the left of that shot made like integrated their back brace into the costume. Like you genuinely can't even tell it's there because it's part of the cosplay. Who am I? Oh, the Hollow Knight that was on there. The helmet is 3D printed of a bunch of different pieces. And then this girl was just like really, really sweet. Yeah. She was like, I like going to conventions because I don't have to worry about people judging me. Mm-hmm. And I like dressing in this style because it makes me feel like myself. And I was like, oh, nice. And that was just like, I think you had gone to the bathroom. So I just started bothering people again. And I was like, oh, like, I'm really glad I got that little interview there.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend of ours that we ran into, and then I was like, well, yep, there they go off, and there's more. It was really fun to go through the footage and rediscover like, what you found on your scavenger hunt there too. So,
oh, I forgot about Thomas Andrews. There was someone there that was just dressed as the guy that designed the Titanic.
Yep. And we ended up talking with him for like a half an hour, and turns out that he's a stunt person So we're talking about like pro wrestling versus stunt work and things like that. And we were like, both of us kind of looked at us like, oh, you're the guy that did the thing, but that seems too obvious. It's probably an anime something or other, right? And there you go. I got this great shot. Oh no, I'll have to get back a little bit. I have this great shot here coming up. Maybe there.
Yeah,
you go.
because
There you go.
because we were like, so who are you? And he was like, well, guess. And we're like, well, you look like the guy that designed the Titanic.
Yeah. So
He was like, yeah, I really like the 1997 like James Cameron movie. I'm that version of this historical figure. At one point, he popped out a hand fan that just said Top Energy on it.
Yep.
Which was a really great reveal.
And, yep. Well, again, just
a lot of flair. There was a lot of flair.
A lunchtime reveal. So very cool experience. Antoine is in the chat room. We're going to have to get him on these shows sooner or later here as well. Sangawa project dates are February 6th and 8th at the DoubleTree downtown Pittsburgh. Tekka will be July 23rd and 26th. I already have that in my calendar. I need to put the other one in as well. So, and who knows? Maybe we should have an AwesomeCast there is being suggested. So it seems like it'd be a decent fit. So we'll see what we can do with that. Awesome. So, John, thank you so much for giving a hand with the Tekko experience here and helping pull this video together. I think we got some really cool stuff that's going on. And by the way, I also I tagged the people that I could find from our Instagrams that we were getting from them, but people that we had not asked, like the one from the boys that was also the Matt Murdock that I pointed out on the second day, have been finding the video and saying, "Oh, I'm in this," kind of thing. It's been getting around in the community a little bit already, and I think the gas covered hands Instagram, the one that had the not vape already reposted it. So
I checked out the video. I think the only one we missed that they did say was the wig maker. At the end. The panty and stocking cosplayers called out or like shouted out their friend that had made their wigs for them.
Oh, awesome.
And they're like a professional. Like they make wigs for a living, I think.
And we were doing a lot of run gun and using that. And again, this is one of those where it's a lightning kind of adapter. It goes in there and Bluetooth to these microphones. If you notice, like if you did an interview and didn't see it in there, it's because the audio didn't work. Because you don't know. There's no feedback. You don't know if it is or isn't working when you're doing it on the fly like this, which is another reason why you capture so much when you're doing these kinds of things. Or even if you listen to our friend, our wrestler Christian Noir as the Mandalorian in there. He a Mandalorian, I guess. The microphone didn't work and it was coming through the phone, and things like that would happen with that. So this is my first kind of real big in the field doing a lot with one of those microphones that you can't like go back and check because you're really just kind of grabbing and grabbing people and going kind of thing. So that was kind of interesting to see what percentage. I would say is probably about like a 80% success rate. From what we had. But thankfully you were doing a lot of great visual stuff with them, so we could at least use that part of it and just have a nice little, hey, we talked to these people and these people, hey, go look at them, kind of thing. So either way, it worked out really good. We're gonna have little clips and I think it's about a 16-minute video, but we're gonna have little clips and stuff coming up here across the social media. So that is awesome. So tell me, what's your awesome thing of the week?
Neither of us put anything in the awesome things because I thought we were not. I didn't because I just thought we were gonna end up there for a while and drop
also
out.
I figured we weren't going to have a lot of time with the interview and you going over Tekko, that we would pretty much go to the leftover
I
section.
made time for you and I was playing the video so I couldn't see the doc so to see where we were at with things.
I can talk more. I can always talk more.
The thing is, if I can actually, one of the things that put in there would be my awesome thing of the week.
Okay, what's that?
So that's the person, and I didn't realize, but the Reddit thread got killed because they were promoting their product. The person who was tired of paying for Visco and Lightroom, so they made their own camera for the iPhone and their own photo editor.
Okay.
That's available for free. And there's a social network aspect of it.
Okay, so
which is kind of neat.
So since the link got killed, what should I be looking for?
Well, no, you can. It's the app is called PostPic, PostPic. Yeah, actually, if you use that link, it'll still have a. You can still see the information from Reddit.
Is this it?
But that's it right there. Yes.
Okay. So what does this solve? But this is for
Sure.
It's in the App Store for your iPhone. It's a
Right.
little kind of God, it's old Instagram, honestly. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
With the
Yeah.
old Polaroid and everything. So what do they do?
Exactly. So it's a camera. So you can see on the second shot there. You can see you can actually there's around 5 presets available that you kind of scroll through and get a live view.
One of
what's
them's
going
Kodak
on.
Gold 200 film.
Yes. One's called Mad Max.
Okay.
Mad Max, not
Uh-huh.
Max. Max. One is a black and white,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically it's like an old Instagram or Visco cam filter.
Okay.
So
What's a Visco cam?
Visco cam, it's VSCO. It's a very popular editing and camera suite for the iPhone
Okay.
that has kind of a built-in social network as part of it, but it's subscription only.
Okay.
So it's $7 a month.
Okay. And this solves it
So-
by this is a free kind of
This is completely free.
version of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And it has a decent amount of built-in editing and some nice little touches, including a bloom feature and a hydration feature, which I had to look that up. So bloom is basically when your whites are overblown, but only the whites are overblown. And halation's kind of that hazy look that you see with a lot of older photos. So you actually can import pictures that you took in the camera app or any other app, or anywhere really, any photos, and edit those photos. So it actually has a good amount of editing available. The actual camera works pretty good. It is not something if you're saying I want to have a picture that looks exactly crisp and nice, just like it looked outside. Or I want to have an exact duplicate. This is, I want to do something a little more artistic, or I want to make it feel like a film camera and not just I have a camera. There's a feel that a lot of digital photos have, and a lot of people are now going out of their way to say, I don't want my picture to look like it was taken with the phone. I want to have that warmth. It's similar to people saying I want vinyl and not digital music. There's a subjective feel to it, and this app it's bringing out, and it's a nice little capture app and editing that is really straightforward, pretty powerful, and no cost, because literally it was someone just developed it. It was like, you know what, I don't want to pay for this. You shouldn't have to pay for this. This should not be $7 a month.
But also the question
Just to
is,
do this.
how are they going to make money off of this one too? So if they're
I
not doing
don't-
that, so
Yeah,
that needs to be
honestly-
answered. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, they didn't answer it. It sounds like it was just a passion project. It was literally, I want to do this, but what's available in the market's not available. So I'm going to code on my own and make it myself.
So data link to you, because they do the data thing. This is always a good check when you have that question mark, right? It's pretty light. Data link to you is your contact info and the actual, the user content, which is obvious as a photo app. Not linked to you is your usage data, so they are not following you they're not tracking you basically from the sounds of things, or at least that's what that's what they say they're not doing. So now what happens down the line, who knows, after they get a user base, of course, but that at least for now, that seems like it's a good sign. So that's it feels to me, looking at this feels old Instagram, right? A little bit.
And honestly, that's kind of what it's. And they even mentions like, well, Instagram used to be for photos, but now good luck finding photos on Instagram because it's now
everything. Reels. It's still a very visual thing too. So, Katie, either you can bring something up, or do you want to pick one of the stories that's out there that we do have in the rundown?
Ooh, very exciting. Ooh, how was that Twitter doc on HBO Max?
I think it's been out for a little bit, right? It was a CNN doc, right? It's called,
Yeah.
I think it was called Breaking the Bird. Hold on, let me bring that link up real quick. I was looking for just something kind of background. It was not like, honestly, the whole Elon yada yada is like maybe the last half of the last episode of it. It is I think it's a 4-part miniseries, documentary series, and it talks about like kind of the inception of Twitter into like all the bigwig, all the problems they've had. Oh my God, world events are happening on Twitter, but we're still not making money, kind of stuff that they were kind of dealing with. They interview like basically about everybody except for Jack Dorsey himself. Who seems sort of an enigma in this. And weren't we just talking about Jack Dorsey was doing that Bluetooth-based messaging app on Patreon a couple weeks ago? So he still like has that mindset, but then he started being like an ambassador to like other countries and stuff, and it got really weird. Talking about those, the biggest thing for me was talking about those early days. Took me back to the good old days of Twitter, I guess, so there was a lot of like, and also realizing stuff that it's weird that it's still strange to me that things like Twitter is like novelly nostalgic now. So I'm having trouble handling that in my age, I guess, is the thing. So I just don't know, like Twitter's kind of where a lot of us met. That's where I met Katie, she was a pair of socks, things like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
I think it's worth a look if you got HBO Max. Yes, the HBO's back now, which weirds me out. The other thing is, we got a good habit with staying with services so long that they changed their name and then changed back. We were on AT&T Wireless, which became Singular, which became AT&T Wireless again, for instance. And HBO Max has just done the full circle as well. But I think it's really worthwhile. So I think there's, like, it didn't seem very angled, other than they're really slamming Jack a lot, who refused to be a part of it, I guess, if you want to take that angle. But they were really kind of matter of fact about how Elon was one of the better users of Twitter before going into it, before everything that happened and everything too. And they didn't get into the finickiness that I always hear it on my tech news about the financials around it and everything and how fishy that was. I don't think they get into the fact that he like said he'd buy it for X amount without due diligence and then they called him on it. Like, I don't think that came up in this thing. It was just like, and then he got it, kind of thing. So, which I think is also a fascinating chapter in this that I thought was worth exploring a little bit more. But, I'm kind of glad I didn't get into the weeds on that. And that was an entire like half of the documentary or anything. So it's good history of that. If you're like, oh my God, what is Twitter right now? What did it used to be? If you're kind of newer to it or anything like that. So definitely recommend it, Katie. So awesome. Well, I know we got pumpkin time for Podner. So Dave Pawner, iPhoneography podcasts, and anything we should know about what's going on over there?
Nope. We're in our in between week, so enjoyed the last episode we did, and I would say in terms of photography, and I would try the app there, that post pick, and Visco, the cam. It's weird because Visco, the editing social media part costs money, but they just came out today and I haven't had a chance to deal with it much, with a free camera app. With its own, they give you 50 presets of different filters.
Okay.
And it's honestly, I hate to say it, you give me 50 presets, that's way too many. for I mean, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll find one that's really great, and Visco shots do have a certain look to them because of the different filters they have available. And again, we're talking a little more artistic, but yeah, in terms of get out there, see what's out there, and do something artistic. Beyond just even something that's a snapshot. You can do some editing, change around, look for a different perspective. I'm stealing something from Jim, mindful photography.
Ooh. Well, it's interesting, and I think oh, right, because you just edited the Rubina, right? That was on. She was doing like a mindful photography kind of thing out there in California. So yeah, I was like, wait, I just heard about this. Wait, you did too. We're listening to the same show. We're editing the same show. This kind of thing. Yeah, I think you're gonna have fun with the new guy too, from today too. So
Okay.
But yeah, really cool. And if you're wondering, check out the last 3 episodes of Fishing Without Bait with Rubina. Oh, the rest of the name escapes me right now. From Inner Strength, I think is the site that she does. But she does some cool stuff out there and has some good messaging on her social media. So awesome. Thank you, Dave, and we'll let you run away to your other adventures.
Okay. I'm going on a donut bag. The Talk Steelers.
Oh, okay. Oh, hence the gear.
Ergo the shirt.
Okay.
Ergo the shirt.
Okay, that's right. I was like, you're not usually Steelers out. When he popped in, I didn't see you, and I was like, oh, okay. Awesome. Katie, katiedudas.com. I don't know if you got anything coming up or anything with Thrive coming up we should know about.
Nope, nothing exciting.
Low key. That's fine.
Mhm.
And we'll hang out with Patreon for a minute and see what else we can get into here. All right. So, and of course, intern John is just interning away. So,
Yes.
thank you guys so much. At Sorgatron on the social medias. Check out all of our videos, the big videos on YouTube and Facebook of the big 16-minute video of our adventures at Techo 2025, wherever long videos and content will go, podcast feeds, etc. If you want to check out some of that conversation, I go deep into the kind of video production talk on there as well, and we had a lot of fun with that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other stuff coming up here. I'll be heading to Canton, Ohio, to produce a wrestling show live stream at a strip joint. That'll be fun. So don't entirely know everything I'm getting into, but it's going to be the first time working with some people, so it'll be fun. I'm there for the wrestling. Let's just make that clear. Anyways. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody, supporting us on patreon.com/AwesomeCast if you guys want to support as well, if you have fun doing this and want to get it going. Thank you, Chachi, for the Video Game Minute. We'll see you guys next time. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at